Hey, it's Kayla, and today I'm going to be talking about books that I read before Booktube. Now, when I mean before Booktube, I mean before I even watched Booktube, let alone me putting my face on Booktube. So I started watching Booktube back in 2013, I think. Either 2013 or 2014. Can't remember exactly when off the top of my head. Let's get into the book. So first up is Nicholas Sparks books, like 80% of his books. I love Nicholas Sparks. Those are like half the books I own right now are from back in high school when I read only Nicholas Sparks books. I have been wanting to pick up some of them again. There's a few of them that I just don't remember what happens. I remember enjoying A Bend in the Road the most. I think I still have a mass market paperback of that book. So I think it'd be fun to kind of go through and read some of my old favorites. I read the Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. From about high school on, aside from Nicholas Sparks, most of the books I read were because of the movies. So I either heard about the movie adaptations and then decided to read the book before the movie, or I saw the movie and wanted to read the book, or whatever. So you'll kind of see a little theme here. So I read the Hunger Games because I saw the Hunger Games and I needed to know what happened. So then I read the Hunger Games. I'm pretty sure I read all three books. Saw the movie, read the Hunger Games, bought Catching Fire on ebook, and then read Mockingjay. Hunger Games and Mockingjay at the time, I believe, were two like lending library books from Amazon Prime, like back in the day. I don't think they even still have that. Next up is If I Stay and Where She Went by Gail Forman. I read these because I think I had just finished Perks of Being a Wallflower. I just remembered some books that I read before Booktube. For some reason, I don't think I have them marked as read on my Goodreads. I wanted something, you know, that was kind of a popular book, something that most people kind of enjoyed. So I just Googled Perks, and then on Google you'll see like pop-ups of like similar books or books that other people are reading or whatever it is, and I saw it on there, so I read it, and that's why. Next is Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. I read this because of the movie. I don't think I ever saw the movie. I just saw the previews for the movie, thought it looked interesting, heard it was a book, and decided to read the book. I read the Ugly series by Scott Westerfeld. I actually read The Uglies, the first book, back in my freshman year in high school. Like, that was a long time ago. Like, that's an old series. And I didn't finish it until after I graduated college and started reading again. And looking back, I mean, a lot of people say it is kind of a very meh series, but at the time, I mean, it was kind of very unique. Like, that was the first kind of dystopian new thing, and it holds a special place in my heart. Next, I read 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. This was another one of those Google search books that I read. This was way before the movie, and let alone Booktube for me. I read the Twilight Saga by Stephanie Meyer. I read this in college. I think this is the only books I'm pretty sure that I read in college. This is another from the movie, so I saw Twilight, needed to know what happens. So I'm pretty sure I never read Twilight the book. I just saw the movie, and then I read New Moon. I'm pretty sure I just borrowed it from a friend. I don't think I owned it. Bought Eclipse, which is why I only own Eclipse. And then borrowed Breaking Dawn from a friend. This is about the time where Twilight just came out and Breaking Dawn had just come out, so it was only available in hardcover. And I wasn't gonna buy just a hardcover. I didn't want like to spend the money. So I borrowed it from a friend in college that had the book. So that series I devoured. I remember staying up till 4 in the morning reading Breaking Dawn, which is, you know, laughable, but It was one of those few series that really kept me up all night reading. Next I have on here is Stephen King. I started reading Stephen King about the time when I started picking up reading again after college. The first story of his I read was The Body, which is a novella, and it really changed my reading taste. So not necessarily that I was reading all these fluffy YAs, because most of these YAs were actually hard-hitting topics packed in a YA format, which is still a good read. But it was just the writing style and the experience, because The Body is about, you know, these young preteen boys. But it was just this writing style. Like, I was just introduced to this new, unique format that I had never experienced before, and it just upped my level and expectations for books. I read Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. This was, I believe this one I read is the first one that kind of started the domino effect for the Google search book recommendations. Saw the movie, enjoyed the movie, wanted to read the book, read the book, and I still, right now, cannot tell you what happens in that book. I remember kind of the big reveal only because people have talked about it, and I had to kind of I had to do like a Google search about it, because for some reason, like, that whole book and mainly that reveal is just did not stick in my brain. So for some reason I suppressed it. Don't know why. But Perks is definitely a really forgettable book for me, and it's something that I really should reread here soon. I have The Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Niffenegger. Now this is a book, I do not know why I picked up this book, because I read this book before it became a movie. This is one of the exceptions. I actually own this book too, so I think it was just a book I saw on a bestsellers or a recommendation shelf at the bookstore, and I picked it up. I remember being very disappointed with the movie, and I remember reading the book, really enjoying it, and kind of like having that challenge of like, with the time traveling and like the jumping in time and everything, trying to sort things out in my head. You know, just feeling challenged, but in a good way, through a book. I've read the entire Sailor Moon manga series by Naoko Takeuchi. I love Sailor Moon. I'm a Moonie. I bought the entire box set series and have read them multiple times. Now the two that I forgot to add on here were two John Green books. I have read Looking for Alaska and The Fault in Our Stars. I own Looking for Alaska. I picked that up because I had just heard things from people in real life really enjoying it. I had really high expectations for it. There's a book that I just really did not like. I'm sure I probably would have loved it in high school. Definitely right up my alley. I just remember finishing it and just being like, why does everyone like this book? I guess that should be a book I should add to the popular books I don't like. I seriously just forgot about those two books completely until just now. And then I read The Fault in Our Stars. I loved The Fault in Our Stars. That was also a book from the Google search chain, from Perks to If I Stay to 13 Reasons Why to Perks of, to The Fault in Our Stars. All very similar books, YA books with, you know, dark underlining tones and messages. Definitely my favorite out of all those books. And my last one I have on here is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. This one is kind of a me. This was the turning point for me coming on to Booktube. So my Booktube OG is Books and Lala. I watched her when I first started watching Booktube. I think she was one of the first YouTubers I had ever watched, because she used to do cloth diaper videos, and she had kind of a mommy lifestyle channel before her Booktube. And I watched her and another person all the time. I watched all their videos, and I remember she was doing a favorites, and she talked about Gone Girl, and that she loved it, she raved about it, got her back into reading. Her getting into reading, she found Booktube, And then she announced on her mommy channel that she was making a booktube channel so that she wouldn't have to have book videos on that channel if anybody didn't want to watch them or something. You know how people make new channels. So I followed her to her booktube channel for a long time. She was the only booktuber I ever watched. And I finally kind of branched out. You'd see like those recommended videos on the side, and here we are today. So Gone Girl was that kind of cusp, like I heard about it through her, but she wasn't yet a booktuber yet. And then she just started her channel because she wanted to get into booktube. So yeah, I mean, these don't include books from like school, and you know, like you saw, there's books I kind of forgot. I was kind of at the mercy of my Goodreads page, but I think that's good enough for today. Let me know what you guys think. Were any of you guys also book to movie readers? I mean, I still am. I don't know. Okay, that's all for today. See you guys next time. Bye!